Today, there are more than 400 million crypto holders in the world. Most of them hold their crypto. I think it's 90% plus of them that are holding their crypto via centralized venues. Ultimately, we do believe that wallets have a really important role in migrating people that already own crypto but are currently on centralized venues into self-custody to allow them to capture more opportunities, whether it's interacting with the apps, all the different like on-chain stuff that are out there, but also like capturing like earlier opportunities like on alts or farming airdrops and so on. We do believe that like today, like real opportunities are on chain, and for this to be accessible to everyone, we need to make a product that is super easy to use from a UX standpoint, and that's exactly what we're trying for. I'm Emil, the CEO and co-founder of CTRL, which was formerly called XDEFI Wallet. Well, it's basically very similar to a digital bank account, except that you're in full control of your financial assets, and no one else than you can, move your funds, etc. Well, we were early, in this ecosystem, and we were using like several wallets to do several different things. We just wanted to have everything in one place, so we were users in the first place, and decided to build like the perfect tool for ourselves. Well, with the wallet that supports the most chains out there, and we were the very first multi-chain wallet extension. We started back in 2020. Back then, there was pretty much just MetaMask that was focusing on EVM. I consider ourselves as pioneers from a multi-chain point of view. I'm being pretty vocal on socials. So I mean, if you're not following my socials, I guess like I'm a big believer in a multi-chain feature. I don't think that like there can be different blockchains not communicating between one another. And I think like allowing for this interoperability is very important and key for the overall industry to thrive. So we've met with Matthew like a while back now, years ago, and there were early investors and supporters, and they've always been, there when we asked them for help on whatever subject it is really. Try to do something that solves like in real life issue instead of like just trying to build something for which you need to convince your users that there is a user case. Try to focus on the implementation and not just the idea. I think everyone has ideas, and I don't think you're different. I'm not different. Like everyone has tons of ideas, whether they're good or bad. Ultimately, what really matters is how you implement it, the team you build around yourself, the co-founder that you pick. So yeah, first thing, find the right co-founder and make sure that you have the right team around you to implement the idea. I think it's really important. Don't try to run before walking, and try to create like a proof of concept, test it, ship fast, and then iterate on the back of it. Yeah, for sure. So when we built XDEFI Wallet originally back in 2020, our main focus was to essentially ship something and add as many chain support as we could from the early days. We didn't really like focus on branding or marketing. The XDEFI name kind of made sense because we were DeFi Summer, cross-chain DeFi, cross-DeFi, that was explaining pretty well what we were doing back then. Ultimately, we realized that our users were essentially interacting with the product for plenty of different things like outside of DeFi. So it didn't make as much sense as it did in the early days. We built a really, good product and stable products for multi-chain product. And we supported like, all the chains we could support. So 15, 18 months ago, we started thinking, okay, like what is the next step for us? How can we leverage the technical foundations we've built and the moat that we've built from a multi-chain standpoint and create a product and a brand that is accessible like to a lot more people than just like the niche multi-chain people, and recreate something that will allow us to scale and onboard the next 100 million users into Web3. So that had to go through like a rebrand and create like a visuals and a narrative and an ecosystem for ourselves that was friendly and welcoming instead of like, being too crypto focused and sometimes a little bit dark and not necessarily like accessible for people that are not necessarily like power users or on crypto Twitter and so on. So we try to do something a bit similar than a digital bank will do it, a bit of in the same way. And we named but also we worked on the product themselves and make sure that like we're tackling the main UX pain points associated with self-custody. So that took a lot of time, but so far so good. The transition has started last week, and the community has been like giving us super positive feedback. So it's really nice to see and hear.